morning, afternoon, depending on where y'all are tuning in from. I got the Zoom link pinned. You guys want to go ahead and join, make public comment. This will be the first board meeting that the new LAPD chief will be in attendance. So, gonna be an interesting meeting nonetheless. First ever meeting that we get to formally speak to the brand new LAPD chief. And for those listening, thanks again for all your help with the clips. Been very helpful. So for that, we're just gonna go ahead and wait. And they're usually on time with these, but who knows? Being that this is the first time they're having the new chief on. Be interesting. A lot of meetings today. We're back to the regular schedule. Both the city and the police board of commissioners here. I'm gonna put the link for all right, that second link there, that's a visual calendar you can use to see all the other meetings happening uh happening today and for the rest of the week in California. So there's, I believe today we've got city council, um got board of public works, a lot of meetings this great, that works. Audio works. Fantastic. We are all set. Police chief. First time we'll get to speak with them formally in public here. They have their call muted for now, so that's why you guys can't hear anything. And I'm just already raised my hand there, so Hold up.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chief McDonald, Mr. Sibley, Madam Secretary, Acting Inspector General Florence Hugh, Mr. City Attorney Carlos de la Guerra, and members of the public. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. It is 9:31 a.m. This is a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Please let the record reflect Commissioners Suthers, Shields, Calanche, and Garcia are present, and we have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. We welcome everyone attending this morning. The Police Commission is committed to ensuring equal access to its meetings. It is requested that individuals who require the services of a translator contact the board secretary no later than the day preceding the meeting. Whenever possible, a translator will be provided. Sign language interpreters, assistive listening devices, or other auxiliary aids and/or services may be provided upon request. To ensure availability, you're advised to make your request at least 72 hours prior to the meeting you wish to attend. All public comment will be heard during item number 2 on the agenda. We'll dedicate a total of 45 minutes to public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. At the request of the speaker will be given 1 additional minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total. The order of the speakers will be: a speaker in this room will go first, then we'll take a speaker watching today's meeting on Zoom. We'll alternate between speakers in the room and Zoom for a total of 45 minutes. Members of the public who participate in public comment are reminded that they can speak to any item on the agenda or a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners. Public comment is your opportunity to address the board. So you're free to express your opinion on matters before the board and to generally express when you disagree with other opinions expressed. However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinion shall be deemed off topic, and your public comment period will be concluded. Members of the public, if you choose to participate in the public comment portion of the agenda, you can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined on the agenda. I'd like to share an additional note about public comment this morning. Today's agenda includes the LAPD's budget as item number 4D. The department will provide a presentation to the commission this morning. My fellow commissioners and I may ask a few questions. However, much of the discussion will take place at next week's meeting on November 26th. The commission will take additional public comment on the department's budget over the course of the next week. To provide written comment, you may email the commission at policecommission@lapd.online. Please place public comment in the subject line of your email. All comment will be forwarded to the commissioners and will be added to the commission's portion of the LAPD website. Message for those attending the meeting in person. These meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to be present at the meetings, hear the presentations and dialogue in real time, and provide feedback via the public comment period. During these meetings, there's a need for the board to carry out public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the audience shall not engage in any conduct which causes an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending the meeting in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only one warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and/or removal from the meeting. Today is the first commission meeting for Chief McDonald. Chief, welcome back to the LAPD and this room. It's good to have you here. With that, we will move to item number 1, the report of the Chief of Police, Chief McDonald.
Thank you very much, President Suthers. Thank you for the welcome back. It's great to be back. Good morning, President Suthers, Vice President Shields, Commissioners, Acting Inspector General Yu, City Attorney De La Guerra, and Mr. Sibley. Today, I'll be discussing significant events from the previous 2 weeks, providing a crime update and discussing our personnel strength. We have had no officer-involved shootings or categorical uses of force during the past 2-week period. Year to date, we've had 24 officer-involved shootings in comparison to 31 this time last year, for a decrease of just under 23%. Significant arrests during our last Board of Police Commissioner meeting. We discussed the vandalism and burning of an MTA bus during the Dodgers World Series celebration. The damage from this crime is estimated to exceed $1 million. Since the incident, detectives from our Major Crimes Division have been working hard to identify those responsible. By reviewing evidence from the scene and analyzing surveillance video from the area, they identified 2 suspects who were involved. With the help from Metropolitan Division, both suspects were located and taken into custody earlier this past week. The cases will be presented to the District Attorney's Office this week for filing consideration. I want to just take a moment to commend the outstanding work of Major Crimes detectives and Metropolitan Division officers. Their dedication and teamwork exemplify the highest standards of this department, and we thank them for their continued commitment to keeping the city safe. In Hollenbeck, on Saturday, November 9th, 3 attempted carjackings occurred in Hollenbeck area, targeting female victims over a 6-hour span. These incidents were in close proximity to each other and involved a suspect with a similar description. The first incident took place at 10:40 hours at a gas station located at 3200 block of Broadway. A woman was pumping gas when a man approached her vehicle and entered the driver's seat, attempting to push her aside while demanding her keys. The victim fought back, using her legs to kick the suspect out of the car before locking the doors. The suspect fled on foot, and the victim, who suffered minor injuries, declined medical treatment, but reported the incident to police. The second incident occurred at 13:50 hours, just a half a mile away, in a parking lot at 2108 North Broadway. A woman and her 3 daughters were returning to their vehicle when the suspect emerged from nearby bushes and attempted to force his way into their car. He struck the driver's window with a metal object, breaking it. The victim managed to reverse the vehicle and drive away with her daughters. Surveillance footage later confirmed the suspect had followed the family before the attack and had waited near their vehicle. The third incident happened at 1655 at a gas station at 2025 East Cesar Chavez Avenue. A woman was approached by a man while pumping gas, who made her uncomfortable by standing too close and asking for change. After she got into her car, the man forcibly pulled her out and onto the ground. A bystander intervened, pulling the suspect away and prompting him to flee. Detectives immediately went to work gathering and reviewing video evidence to determine the identity of the suspect. The suspect was identified and arrested on November 14th. All 3 victims were able to positively identify the suspect. The case is being finalized and will be presented to the District Attorney on November 18th. I would like to acknowledge the swift and diligent efforts of these officers and detectives, whose work ensured the suspect was quickly apprehended, preventing further harm to our community. Harbor Division has identified a series of food vendor robberies that began around September 4th and continued through November 16th. 10 incidents have been linked to this pattern, with 8 occurring in the harbor area, 1 in Torrance, and another in the unincorporated Harbor Gateway area. The robberies involved masked Hispanic male suspects aged 18 to 24, armed with pistols and sometimes accompanied by a female driver. The crimes have primarily targeted food vendors along Harbor's western corridor, often in isolated industrial areas. In several cases, the suspects have escalated their violence by pistol whipping victims, and during one incident, a shot was fired into the air. Recognizing the vulnerability of our food vendors, Harbor Division has made community outreach a top priority. Detectives, senior lead officers, and patrol officers have met with vendors directly to provide safety tips and to encourage reporting of these crimes without fear. Additional resources have been assigned to the area to prevent additional robberies from occurring. Detectives are working to identify the suspects involved in these crimes and have been coordinating their efforts with our surrounding partner agencies. We urge anyone with information about these robberies to come forward. Even the smallest detail could help bring these suspects to justice and prevent further harm to our food vendor community. On November 16th, Northeast Patrol officers responded to a call of an assault with a deadly weapon, which was a shooting. Once at the scene, they located the victim, who was an on-duty Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA, bus driver. The bus driver sustained gunshot wounds to her jaw, hand, and buttocks while on a layover. As the sole occupant of the bus, the suspect fled the scene. The officers met with the victim at the hospital, who was able to provide the identity of the suspect, who was the victim's ex-boyfriend. Based on this information, the incident was classified as domestic violence-related incident and not a random act of violence. Detectives were able to locate video evidence of the crime, which included the suspect lying in wait in the area for the bus to arrive. Detectives are following up on several leads and locating the suspect and hope to apprehend him in the very near future. We have a missing persons case that got some attention. On November 7th, officers from Pacific responded to a welfare check for Chanel Maya Banks. After visiting her home and speaking with her spouse, they found that Banks was not there and so saw no evidence of a crime or foul play. In the following days, officers responded to multiple welfare check calls from her family, who were unable to contact her. Each time, officers found no sign of Banks at the residence, and based on the information from her spouse, determined no crime had occurred. However, since she could not be reached, a missing persons report was filed. On November 11th, officers learned Banks might be in Texas. They coordinated with a local police agency whose officers located Banks, confirmed her identity, and found that she was safe. Banks explained that she was traveling, did not wish to speak with her family or spouse, and was removed from the missing person system after her identity was verified. While Banks's family continued to dispute this account and requested additional welfare checks, both our department and the Texas Police Agency has confirmed that Banks is safe. She is considered a voluntary missing person and has chosen not to have contact with her family at this time. I want to emphasize that missing persons cases are handled with the utmost seriousness, and no one is removed from the system without officers meeting with the individual and verifying their well-being. I'd like to thank our officers and our partner officers in Texas for their thorough work and collaboration in resolving the case. Their dedication ensured Banks' safety and brought clarity to the situation. Just a recap of crimes for the week ending November 17th. All analysis is based on offense count except for homicides and victims shot. For year-to-date through November 16th, for the 4-week period compared to the prior 4-week period, combined crimes and property crimes are down 14.4%. Persons crimes are down 4.3%, and property crimes are down 17.2%. A homicide analysis. Homicides have been trending down since week ending March 16th of this year. In the past 35 weeks, our year-to-date increase has seen a decreasing range from from an increase of 30.8% down to a decrease of 14.4%. When comparing that to last year, the city has seen a year-to-date decrease of 12.3% in homicides, and then compared to 2022, city's seen a decrease of 27.4% in homicides. Citywide, there were a total of 250 homicides year-to-date through November 16th. And of the 257 in this year, 91 are gang-related based on the homicide hand tally. For comparison, in 2023, 143 of the 293 homicides were gang-related. So gang-related homicides are down 36.4% compared to 2023 and down 52.8% compared to 2022. So good news on that front. On the victim shot analysis, in the past 36 weeks, the victim shot has fluctuated between an increase of 14.7 to a decrease of 18.4. Year-to-date citywide victim shot numbers are down 196 compared to 2023 and down 311 compared to 2022. For the past 4 weeks ending 11/16, there's been an increase of 11.6 or 8 victims shot compared to the prior 4 weeks. When you look at the 4-week comparison for the following areas have seen significant increases in victims shot. Southeast Division up 71.4, which is 5. Central up 133%, which is 4 additional, and Newton up 100%, again, 4 additional. Offenses based count aggravated assault analysis with the combined NIBRS and SRS data. That's to signify the transition between SRS data and NIBRS moving forward with the FBI requirements. For the past 4-week, ag assaults are up 0.1% or 1 compared to the prior 4-week. Area with significant increases in ag assaults for the 4-week period. Hollywood was up 46% or 26 incidents, and Central up 16% or 17 incidents. On robberies, the officer offense-based count for robbery analysis with combined NIBRS and SRS data. Past 4 weeks, robberies are down 9.9% compared with the prior 4 weeks. The drivers of the robbery numbers, areas with significant increases compared to the prior 4 weeks: Wilshire up 30.8% or 8 incidents. And for the past 4 weeks, Wilshire had 34 robberies compared to 26 for the prior 4-week period. That indicates the 4-week period is higher compared to the average number of robberies in Wilshire area. On weapons involvement, there have been 289 strong arm robberies, which are 44% of the total robberies for the 4-week period. There have been 146 robberies with a firearm, which is 22% of the total number of robberies for that 4-week period. Firearms recovered are down 8.6% year to date compared to 2023. The top premise type for robbery is street, a parkway, or a sidewalk, so outside, with 281 for the 4-week period. Combined other businesses, restaurants, mini-mart, clothing stores, liquor stores, market, gas station, and department stores account for 124 robberies for that same 4-week period. Burglary on that front, for the past 4 weeks, burglaries are down 10.4% compared to the 4-week period. Commercial burglaries are down 18%, and residential burglaries are down 5.7%. Offense count for motor vehicle thefts for the past 4 weeks, they're down 11.5% compared to the 4-week period this time prior. For the past 4 weeks ending 11/9 compared to the prior 4 weeks, the following areas have seen significant increases in motor vehicle thefts. Harbor is up 52.4 or 33 incidents. Rampart up 7.7 or 7 incidents. The top vehicles stolen for the past 4 weeks: Kia overall with 172 numbers, but that's down 8.5% from prior. Kia Optima is a big part of that at 53, and Kia Soul at 36, followed by Chevrolet, 184 of those, Silverados, 68 of those, and Camaro 7, and then Hyundai, 181, 64 of those were Sonatas, and Elantra was 74. On the personnel issue, for sworn personnel as of October 14th, our number was 8,790. And civilian personnel, now a total of 2,623. We currently.
Chief, can you please pause for a second? Sir, can you please sit down? You've had a lot of time to stand there and put on your gear. Sorry for that interruption, Chief.
No, thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, and to close out, our final numbers for reserve officers were at 380 currently staffed. And so I'd reach out to anybody who has an interest as well. And I always make the plug that we are hiring, and we would love to have more reserve officers as well, but a tremendous time of opportunity for people to want to be able to join the department, both professional staff and sworn, to be able to help be part of what we're going to see in the upcoming years with the events we have coming our way. An exciting time to be in this profession. Thank you for the opportunity to share this info with you.
Thank you, Chief. And I do believe our next hiring mixer at the Amundsen Recruit Training Center is this Saturday. So hopefully we'll see 100 people again, as we usually do on Saturday.
Thank you, Commissioner.
With that, I'll defer to Vice President Shields for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Chief, for the update, and thank you for talking about some of the trends that you're seeing and and a lot of the good work that's being done by department personnel and catching some of the suspects, both with the MTA bus fire and others. When you mentioned the food vendor robberies, I just wanted to kind of, you've been very busy since your confirmation and swearing in, and you've already had a lot of events. One thing that I really appreciated during your confirmation hearing before City Council was, making it very clear what the department's role is with regards to immigration. And as an immigrant myself, I want to make very clear that all of the strides that the department has made in building those relationships with the immigrant community to encourage people to who are victims to report the crimes, to encourage witnesses to come forward, how important all of those relationships have been, and the current policy of the department of not doing immigration work, I'd like you to just kind of speak on that even if there's with the change of administration, that people in the city of Los Angeles can continue to come forward to LAPD without a fear of, being turned over to ICE.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the opportunity. Just a point of clarification, there's an awful lot of rumors out there as to what is and what's not going to happen in Los Angeles and around the country with the coming administration change. LAPD's policy is crystal clear, going back to 1979 with Special Order 40, which changed the manual the following year as part of our policy. We don't stop people to determine their immigration status. We don't interact with people based on any of their immigration status. That's not a factor for us and hasn't been my whole time on the job. More recently, the Trust Act was put in place in the state, which further defined that, and then followed by the California Values Act, which was previously known as Senate Bill 54. And so it's crystal clear to us as to what our role as a police agency is. And it's not to participate with ICE in any kind of roundups or any of the things that have been put out there that is going to occur, that won't occur with the LAPD's assistant in Los Angeles. We need the trust of the people that we serve in this community. The migrant community is a big part of this community. And if people aren't willing to come forward and be witnesses and stand up to what they saw and try and do the right thing to help protect themselves and their neighbors, then we can't be effective in trying to protect the residents of this city. So thank you for the opportunity to provide that clarification, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chief. And I really look forward to working with you on a host of issues, continuing to hold the department accountable while revamping the discipline process and recruiting and all of the different issues that came up during confirmation and else. So really welcome aboard and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Before I go on to Commissioner Kamalanche, signs and banners are prohibited. Take the sign off the chair, put it back in your backpack. It is a distraction. I'm talking to you. Thank you. Commissioner Kamalanche.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief, for that clarification on LAPD policy when it comes to immigration and complying or responding to directives from the federal government. What I would like to add is, given the fear, uncertainty of our time, given this issue, I would love to have in our weekly or maybe a monthly report on any issues having to do with immigration. So if we could just make it either a standing item on the agenda for maybe every other meeting or once a month, just to assure the public about what is happening and our response.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia.
Good morning. Thank you, Chief, and welcome. Just like everybody has so far asked, and is at top of mind, is the rights as it relates to the immigrant population here in LA. So I was able to participate in a conversation with some immigrant rights organizations a few days ago, and really was reminded that one, we don't need to start from scratch, from zero. There's a lot of policies that were implemented in the first round of this administration to address some of those concerns and to add to the protections. And so I definitely would echo Commissioner Kalancha's suggestion of ensuring that we are attentive to it and possibly bringing it up into this meeting, either on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. But also ensuring that the officers and the department as a whole and the community as a whole understand what those policies are. And so figuring out a way of how we can educate the department, but also ensure that the community understands what those rights are and what those protections are, and that they shouldn't fear reaching out to law enforcement for help because of potential mistrust. And so the more we're able to relay those messages, I think the more the community will feel comfortable reaching out, and hopefully we reduce incidents that are out of compliance with those policies and the goals of the department. So looking forward to working with you on that, and the leadership in the department, but also working with the coalitions that come together and the leaders that come together around those issues.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 2, public comment. Madam Secretary, please call the first speaker.
The first speaker is Jonathan Foster.
Hi, Jonathan Foster. Jamil Shaw was shot in the face and died by illegal alien Jose Espinoza. I hope you get shot in the face and die. Special Order 40 in 1979 is so you don't get shot. That's what it's for. It's not about so you don't piss off the immigrants. And this morphed into not turning suspects, criminal suspects, over to ICE. You're all murderers. And you deserve to die. You're guilty. We arrest you, prosecute you, and sentence you to death in the same hour. We have lethal injection, noose, bomb, firing squad, electric chair. Such ways are all pretty sick. But you should die by Jose Espinoza, same guy killed Jamil Shaw Jr. And Barack and his wife and 2 kids should die, down to the California state legislature, the LA government, the whole voice in California that votes for illegal aliens, California Values Act, Sanctuary City Act should be executed by Jose Espinoza. 30 million of you. He should kill 30 million of you, and his mother. Should also kill his own mother. You're all guilty. If you or anyone supports this, needs to be given the death penalty. 75% of the state, California Values Act, would kill 30 million people. It's really sick. LA, you're like a good old boy, badge tarnisher. That LA Unified is aiding and abetting. You are aiding and abetting Jose Espinoza killed Jamil Shaw Jr. Fair Immigration Organization killed Jamil Shaw Jr. You can't harbor illegal aliens. You know, you pick the chief that can't make an arrest. He's 64 years old. Anybody 20 would beat the shit out of him all over the place. I like him, but he's not the chief. What you should do is what I said, because you people weren't here when I said this. You should have the least scoring cadet who's an officer be the chief, and have him and the command staff in the cars making the arrests. They sit around here in air conditioning. Pick a new chief. George Floyd Valentine. God is damning the department by half. It's down by half. Who sent the Valentine? Or this thing's going nowhere.
Thank you.
Next, we have Betty Lay.
Good morning. Good morning.
What's his name? John something Mac?
Good morning. Do you hear me?
Okay, we'll move on to the next.
Okay. We have Andrew Grabner.
More prepared than McDonald was today. Start out with the Chiefs report. The Chiefs report should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes at every meeting. If we only get 3 minutes, he should only get 3 minutes. If he wants to take more time, then we should get more time. And it's like we just get long spiels about weird things that happened in the department. Like they had like a community event or something. And I mean, was barely prepared, just ran in at like, 9:29 and, spent like, just kind of mumbled through the report. I could barely even understand what you were saying. I mean, I could barely understand, just mumbling through the report, fumbling through his notes. They had like a week to prepare for this. I mean, I guess this is the guy who was, elected out as sheriff 4 years ago. The people had said that we don't want this guy in office, or 6 years ago. We don't want this guy in office, but then you just recommend him for police chief. And the city council is passing a sanctuary city motion today. Make sure that this guy doesn't collaborate with ICE. We have, all right, now let's move on to the consent agenda. We have a number of items on the consent agenda today. We have donations. You have at least one donation from your former police chief, or from the association named after your police chief from the 50s or whatever, who was extremely racist, but you keep just, celebrating him. We have a donation, just all kinds of weird donations. You have one from like a jewelry store, like a donation from a jewelry store. And I had to even look up, 14K. And I had to briefly look up what it was because the first thing I saw was like a international gang that mostly does like drug trafficking with the same name. I assume it's the jewelry store and not the drug trafficking gang, international drug trafficking gang. But I mean, we have donations, multiple ones related to the holiday party. You have your budget. Apparently, you need more money, even though he could even manage to mumble through some notes that it was that crime is down. So why do you need more money if crime's down? It seems like if crime's down in any kind of logic, we need less of you. We we don't, but we know you don't even solve crime or anything. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. So, yeah. And would you stop targeting Jason Reedy and his baby every meeting? You're doing that.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Hassan Tran. Hassan Tran. I believe we're having issues with the Zoom.
Let's move to the next in person. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hi. Good morning, Los Angeles Police Department and everybody. My name is Hassan Tran. Today, Tuesday, November 19, 2024. Please help me put my name in U.S. government system. I am a person very important, right and safety to all police department all around USA and all USA veteran and all US military and all American people and all human rights all around the world peacefully. I am very sure 100% all American people love me and all human rights all around the world. They all support me. But more important, I am seriously need help from Los Angeles Police Department and all USA veteran and all US military and all American people. Please, all of you protect me. Better change for all American people and all human rights all around the world right here at Los Angeles Police Department. Please help me give my information to all American people and everybody. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. I'm here for protect everybody. You know that, but you have all my information. Thank you again. Love all of you.
Thank you.
I will be here every weekend.
The next speaker, please, Tyson JD.
All right, there's a new sheriff in town. Chief, you talked about the immigration, the illegal, and then using my critical thinking skills. And I believe there are two kinds of illegal. There are kind of law-abiding illegal, and then there are kind of criminal illegal. So based on what you said, it seems like using a random critical thinking skills. If the illegal criminal illegal are going to Texas, they know they're gonna go being deported. They are not gonna commit a crime in Texas. But if you are saying, you know, you're gonna continue to protect them, so every millions can come to LA, knowing you will protect them, knowing they will not have facing any deportation consequences. There are millions of them. You only have 8,000 officers. Who concerns about the new chief? Number one is crime issue. Somehow in many Asian countries, you know, my mom, my sister, they were able to, you know, go to a convenience store at 10 p.m. without fearing getting shot. But you know, my mom can go to, you know, a convenience store late night, go getting some groceries without worrying about getting robbed. But Chief, in LA, downtown LA, South Central, Figueroa, can you tell me, are you going to let your wife walk alone late night? You already know the situation. Why we get to that point, I don't know. You are the law enforcement executive. Second of all is morale. I'm really happy that you talked to the Fox News and then you said one of your priority is boosting the morale. That's good. However, based on my experience for the past 2 years in the police commission meeting, I feel one reason the LAPD officer morale is low is they are scared to speak up. I'm experiencing the same issue. In my school, if I'm talking about anything anti-DEI, if I'm talking about anything promoting meritocracy, then, you know, my professor are giving me a hard time. Same with LAPD. And I believe majority of the LAPD, they want a fair promotion. They want to be treated fairly. You do not get a promotion because of your DEI status. You do not get a promotion because you are LGBT, because you are Black. You get a promotion because the work you do for the department, because of the work you do for the city, because how many lives you protected in the city of LA. That's what my understanding. However, when LAPD is talking about anti-DEI, I'm sure the police commission will giving them a hard time. And I am experiencing a hard time at my school because I support meritocracy. I do not support just because you have a skin color, you get a differential preferential treatment. So if we can boost morale, we're gonna boost meritocracy first.
Thank you.
Next, we have Audit LA.
Good morning, Chief. I don't know if you remember me, like you do. We had a nice little chat. I didn't even know who he was, just at the luncheon stand at City Hall, and he said he's gonna be our new chief, so welcome. And I asked you, I don't know if you remember, I asked if you had an email and you said not yet, so I'm wanting to see if that's possible, if you do have that email yet. Because I'm here for, there's a lot of things I would like to talk to you. I've been coming here for many months. Miss Yu knows a lot about the issue, so does the commission. But the one thing I really want to update you about is that there's a lot of, and this is not a knock on all officers. I am not anti-police, and I'm not going to knock every officer or put them all in the same boat. That's not fair. But there's a lot of collusion between, and I'm going to say it, I'm not even going to say allegedly, because we have enough evidence on film of between Scientology and two divisions, Hollywood Division and Northeast Division, and it's just not ending no matter what. And one of the big problems is that one of the main Scientologists, very high-level OSA member named Janet Wheeland, is on both of their CPABs. And that's a problem. Like, we've put in numerous cases, both to the police and to the Inspector General, that there should be cases that we, I know you can't tell us, but as long as there's any open cases dealing between Scientology and LAPD and the relationship between the two, there should not be any Scientologist on CPAB until all those investigations are cleared, because it's compromising and it's not fair, because things are still happening. And I would love to be able to just catch you up or and give information and everything that we have. It's a very serious issue. They are being defiant of the city, even for the minor thing, well, seemingly minor, but not being able to, they have where they are, sorry, I have a lot of people very interested in this topic. There's a lot of stuff, like they have all these illegal ADA planters, 250 of them, that the city has ordered them to move. They have even, it's been given to the city attorney for them to deal with. And they are just defiantly doubling down and making it even harder for even their own people. I have a video of a blind man with a stick, and he cannot get through these planters hardly. And it's just a defiance. So there's such a, right now, there really needs to be discussions on how to handle this. And as far as the other topics about the money being given, I'm all for you guys getting donations, because it takes the burden off the taxpayer. But I don't like that the police foundation, they don't have to show us who's giving that money. And my concern right now is like any entity, maybe Scientology or other entities, because they don't show us who's giving the money. And so there's like a level of non-transparency, and I'm hoping that you will help bring change to that. I am for you getting the money, but I just want to know who's giving it to you, sir. And thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
The next speaker, please, Jason Reedy.
All right, so Jim, as both a parent and a community member, I know that LAPD's own reporting of crimes committed by your pigs only captures a fraction of the true impact of LAPD's criminal ways. For example, according to LAPD records, despite the department having sustained complaints against rapist LAPD pig Gabriel Espadas, the LAPD is telling the public they have no disciplinary records for him. You saw how a higher power couldn't even put up with your bullshit during your swearing in. I mean, you were the only one to have mic issues that day. For you to say that you have an unwavering commitment to serve the people of this city with every ounce of dedication and integrity I possess, you have no integrity. I mean, you were described as a man of integrity by Errol Southers, the founder of the Santa Monica Power Program that led to the molestation of over 200 people, and someone who literally lied to Congress. Now, Old McDonald has signaled through adopting the most data-driven strategies that he is eager to not only mimic, but broaden the brutality Angelenos faced under Bratton. Now let's take a closer look at your constant contradictions. At the October 15th commission meeting during AB 481 presentation, Commander Sufatelli said that she would schedule a public engagement meeting at the most convenient time for the full engagement of the community within 30 days. Rasha, you encouraged her to try to get that meeting on the books in advance of this full city council vote, which is today. This so-called public engagement meeting was announced on October 20th on LAPD's Facebook page only. There was no mention of it on LAPD socials, including the PIO, no mention of it on LAPD Commission socials, or via any other method of communication. What's more is that meeting was held on a Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. with 2 days notice. So I'm wondering who in this room considers that to be the best time for the quote unquote full involvement of the community? Who thinks that public was quote unquote well publicized at a requirement of AB 481? Who thinks 2 days notice is enough for any concerned citizen to participate in a Q&A with your personnel? In fact, LAPD has a budget item, a budget request for $275,000 for your website,
And the LAPD Online doesn't even have a dedicated webpage for AB 481 or an established communication line for the complaints around LAPD's use of military weaponry. Now, speaking of websites, let's mention a website visited amongst your rank and file. Yes, I'm talking about the Stop LAPD Spying, Watch the Watchers website that has become so popular amongst sworn and civilian LAPD employees that some within the department have taken to calling it LAPD Facebook. Now, many of your pigs say they use this site regularly, sometimes on a daily basis. And yet this commission vilified, criminalized, and denigrated the coalition for it. Now, Lou, since you have some newfound concern around the budget, maybe you can lead the charge on this budget line item. LAPD is budgeting for 585 new recruits, 45 recruits over 13 classes. LAPD has seen an average of 22 new pigs over the last 6 graduating classes. That included graduating 17 pigs last month, the lowest in a decade. I want to ask, instead of budgeting for a more realistic and yet still very ambitious goal of 30, one that we'll make sure you won't make, they want 45. So you should suggest breaking this into 2 budget requests. Start with 390.
Thank you. Thank you. Your 3 minutes are up. Step away from the podium. Step away from the podium. You are disrupting the meeting. This is your first and last warning for disrupting the meeting. Stop disrupting the meeting. No. How about that, girl? No.
The next speaker, please, Megan.
You are asking for an 8% budget increase, a $262 million increase when every other city department has hiring freezes. You are quite literally bankrupting us. You're not even maintaining basic and legally required controls over your increasing inventory of military equipment. You are the deadliest police department in the nation. Your rank and file is filled with criminals. Those crimes are uncovered on a weekly basis. The most recent, your ex-officer who sexually assaulted a woman, he 5150'd, an assault which included forcing her to have sex with an animal. Unspeakably horrific and yet par for the course in my 2 years of paying attention to the activities of LAPD. Chief McDonald, this was your first meeting and you phoned in your chief's report. I appreciate your authenticity. No reason to give the impression that this meeting has any effect on your decision making. Rasha, you said you were looking forward to continuing to hold the department accountable. I would just love to know when that happens. Does all the ass kissing happen out here and all the accountability happen back there? Because I've been to about 80 or 90% of the meetings in the past 2 years. And literally the only time I remember you asking even a hard question was when you chastised Chief Moore for arresting Killer Mike at the Grammys. That's the only thing I can think of. I can't think of any other time when you've challenged anything anybody has said sitting in that seat or had anything negative to say about the activities of this department, other than some vague statements about public trust and needing to earn it. Accountability is an action. And if you were doing it, they would not like you. It would not feel cozy in here for you.
The next speaker, please, Mr. Herman. And following Mr. Herman will be Hamid Khan.
Congratulations, James P. McDonald. And congratulations.
Lose the sign. Lose the sign or lose your privilege to have public comment. That's your first and last warning.
Thanking the chief
That's your first and
of
last warning.
police for his adventure into LA after he was warned, stay back. Don't take this position. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. Despite criticism, despite the anarchy of criminals like you, sir, who defies the First Amendment by holding a sign? Are you that ridiculous? I'm talking about you, Southers. Are you that ridiculous? That's the reason why there's no effective communication. That's why I'm here as Batman, the chief who knows the difference when we, the great Native American Indians, trampled your type of people at Little Bighorn because you're racist, you're discriminatory, and you dislike what I and other people criticize you for, and that's do your goddamn job. Now, again, if I use the N word or I say the word nigga, it's not acceptable under the First Amendment. Now, you tell that to the Compton kids who gave me all this knowledge of NWA. That's the knowledge I received playing that music over and over and over, understanding that America is not safe, Mr. Southers. It's not safe. Not even I would put my wife with beautiful perfume out on the street to have some dirty motherfucker put her hands on, just like the chief would not allow that to happen. And whether or not Carrot Bass sucks a dick or not, that's not my business.
You're off topic, Herbert.
No, I'm
Yes.
talking about DIC. What does it stand for?
Yeah.
It's an acronym, dick. So once again, Mr. Attorney, Bain Act 52.1, 42 U.S.C.
I don't need to
1983.
hear that. You're off topic. Move on.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on, folks. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we find that the liability of the city by endorsing the Los Angeles Police Department to receive funding that is not earmarked as donations is a crime. And why is that? Because padding your wallets, protecting the evil that has allowed the city and its budget in the crisis, matter of fact, the goddamn crisis is about the budget. Let's talk about the budget. And by the way, I'm writing to Donald Trump to have a consent decree change and reform here because we want.
Thank you. Thank you. Your public comment is ended. Step away from the podium.
The next speaker, Hamid Khan.
I wish, Carlos, you were that ready to pounce on people when your own department was fucking things over. Jason just spoke about the photos and Watch the Watchers website. And this is just November 13th, LA Times. I mean, let's not even talk about us for a second. Their headline says, undercover officers in lawsuit over LAPD photos are just regular cops. And this was a lawsuit by 900 of these supposedly undercovers, which had filed as anonymous John Does. And it says that 900 whose names in this lawsuit have been kept secret have no right to stay anonymous. So here we go. All this time since March of 2023, this body, Briggs, all of you, is coming after us, defaming us, discrediting us, putting a target on our back, threatening us. We have received death threats. We have received threats on our emails and all of that stuff, that people threatening us that they're going to do this to us and do that to us because we released the photos, which were taken under a California Public Records Act. And your fucking boss even went to the extent that she, under all the lies, manipulation, and conspiracies, that she even made a move in the assembly to water down the California Public Records Act. This is the kind of fuckery and conspiracy that we come every week and we want to expose and we talk about it. And this is what you do. This is what your office does. This is how, they try to go after people, silence us, but we're not going to be silent. We can't be silenced. And this is what happens. You were just talking about Sanctuary City, and you were talking about data collection. But you know that the Flock license plate reader scanners that the LAPD uses, it has the capacity to identify for tagging license plates as being associated with undocumented persons, which business improvement districts and HOAs are using as well. So when you talk about data collection, are you familiar with ACCICs are? And I'm looking at you, police commissioners. Are you familiar with ACCICs are, right? which are known as the Area Crime Community Intelligence Centers, which were built on the old CSOC model, the Community Safety Operations Center. Where does the data go in? How does the data get together? Who gets all the information? Are you familiar with JRIC, the Joint Regional Intelligence Center? So whether it's the sanctuary city or whether McDonald's says, because he's full of bullshit anyways, he's the guy who showed the middle finger to the oversight committee of LA sheriffs when he was a sheriff, when they voted against the use of drones. And he said, no, fuck off. I'll still continue to do that. So this is the kind of culture of conspiracies, lies, manipulation. And last thing I want to say is that you have this thing on the item from Watch to Boston. You look at their 1-minute video, promo video about Watch to Boston. And this is the same old tropes of broken windows policing, where they are saying that they needed a police escort to go into Watch to film a person over there and talk to a person.
Thank
We go
you.
to Watch all the time, but that's the kind
Thank you,
of fuckery
sir.
and that's the kind of bullshit that we are going to be keep on outing and keep on exposing.
Thank you, sir.
Keep on disrupting, on organizing.
Madam Secretary, please call the next speaker.
The next speaker is Matios Kirin.
My name is Matthias with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. Just to reiterate the lie the city told about these undercover officers and just how egregious that was and who played a part in it. We were sat in this room surrounded by police officers when Commissioner Briggs suggested and implicitly said that we had threatened the lives of officers by releasing undercover photos. My photo, along with my name, was sent to the LAPPL mailer saying I was conspiring with Liz Rhodes to endanger undercover officers. And the city has come out and said that was a lie, and that's not addressed at all in this body, regardless of how you've endangered community members. But that's just what you do. That's the inherent violence of this body. So I just want to highlight that real quick. And then to this point about Watch to Boston, this donation on the agenda, that's quote, for families who are economically suffering from food insecurity, needing basic living supplies and housing needs due to unforeseen incidents of criminal activity. This is textbook white saviorism, just in a nutshell. And Hamid talked about that 1-minute video on their About page about needing a police escort in the daytime, is what they're saying. But we spend a lot of time in Nickerson Gardens, Imperial Courts, in Watts, and we do just fine. And just to say, this group, Watts to Boston, they operate by, quote, pairing the high school students in Watts with a host family in Boston to help them navigate their path to college. As if the families here in LA, the Black and brown families, the families I come from, are inherently incapable of navigating this course. There are difficulties for sure, but those difficulties are due to a lack of resources. And so to bring in this white savior complex, this nonprofit industrial foundational complex, to offer up little tokenized resources for 1 or 2 children, while this police department siphons $3.2 billion of those resources that could address, quote, basic needs, food insecurity, housing needs, right? This is just such bullshit. And looking into it more, this website says they partner with Operation Progress, which was founded in 2000 by John Coughlin, a then LAPD officer. And they select students from the Watts community, young folks, and put them in Catholic schools, right? And we see that Rick Caruso, Amada Tangarides, Bob Arcos are all on the board of Operation Progress. And, even considering that notion, right, despite the options here would be to invest in our public schools, right? Make sure everybody's good. But instead, we pluck 1 or 2 community members and then put them in Catholic schools, which are inherently better. So it no longer becomes a question of resources and who's kind of benefiting from them. Instead, it becomes a process of picking 1 or 2 community members to cultivate into people you can deputize down the line. And, lastly, just to name that this is supported by the Cummings Foundation, which is based in Boston. And Bill Cummings is a real estate mogul with billions of dollars in assets. And, we don't think of billionaires as being self-serving and, selfless. We think of them as self-serving. And just to say this precedes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the next speaker.
The next speaker is Donald Harland.
The last one.
Hey, there's a red one. Hi, I'm Donald Harlan. First of all, I'll bring back up the point. The mayor can appoint the chief of police. The mayor's never had the power to do that. That could never happen, even if that person was actually the mayor. Several items I noticed on the agenda, donations to and from LAPD. LAPD isn't doing any donations, but if they need to maintain their equipment, somebody needs to maintain their equipment out there. Somebody needs training for protecting infrastructure. They need some plumbing training, that kind of stuff. That's all good. That should be part of the city and also I noticed there's people from the previous police chiefs or people working in LAPD that no longer have their leader or something happened and they're looking for jobs, jumping in different things. You know, we don't want bad people continuing, but there's a lot of jobs. Farrier services for horses. Yes, good. I would like to also include retired horses. There's several other horses maintained by the city that need to be taken care of. Some big Budweiser horses. All that needs to be included in the city's livestock report. I'm concerned about the spending from the city and the LAPD. I noticed that with this new Jim McDonald that there's spending from the roads. I noticed that you're pulling money from roads and you may have been an employee from the roads or that you may be paid from them somehow to service LAPD for something happening here. I don't really know. Or what's really going on, but you know there's no spending for roads. That money's mine, those are my roads, and nobody's supposed to be spending money out of there. It's real strict. Hess and Associates. I don't know if this is the same Hess and Associates we have so many problems with in the oil company, but definitely no reinstating Hess. A bunch of people need jobs. There's a lot of stuff to do. I'm concerned about this new chief of police presenting forged documents, presenting false history or there's a difference between disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. And I don't want to see any people replaced or anything like that. Also, I noticed you might be chasing some bad races.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mike C.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. What items would you like to speak on?
Everything.
Okay, 3 minutes.
I'm shocked. Do you guys see the irony with what your first statements were on this? You're gonna subvert federal law. You're not gonna enforce federal law because somebody's butthurt about an election. Come on. Elections have consequences. Not everybody voted for the Democrats. That's just the way it works. Sometimes we get a Republican, sometimes we don't. Although in California, I'm surprised we ever get a Republican for anything. Why would you guys say something like that? We're not gonna enforce federal law. Come on, that's just stupid. What kind of an organization are you? Oh, I know. You're appointed by the city council. They're a bastion of the Constitution, aren't they? You're, the mayor, DEI mayor. She did one good thing in her whole career. She gave us Chief McDonald. Hopefully that pans out to be good. It doesn't make any sense to me. Illegal aliens are voting, they're driving. They have no right to vote in our elections. And guess what they are? Because we have no voter ID. I can walk in and say, oh, I live at this address. Here's my ballot. Illegal aliens have addresses. I grew up in a barrio. There's lots of illegal aliens that have houses. It doesn't make any sense. You guys just sound like you're, continuing the lawfare here in California against the Constitution and Americans. Really, really troubling. I'm not anti-police in any way. I'm pro-police. I have a suggestion, and this is another topic. As far as MacArthur Park goes and the shakedown of the vendors, which is wrong. Have you guys ever considered putting a substation in MacArthur Park of the LAPD? It may make MacArthur Park a better place to go to, knowing there's a substation in the middle of the park. It might cut down on the gangbangers on the outside corners over there, shaking these people down, doing some racketeering. So it's something to consider. I mean,
Excuse me, sir. Hold on one moment. Can we keep the conversations in the audience down so we can listen to the speaker? Thank you. Sorry, please continue.
just a suggestion. I mean, a substation would be great to have in MacArthur Park. I've gone to the deli over there across the street, Langer's, and that place it's a scary place to park your car, you know? My wife and I got out of the car and she was like, yikes, it's a scary place. And I'm like, yeah, it is. We'll just head into the place, get some sandwiches and leave. But, you know, it's too bad there's no police around. Hey, a substation would be a great idea. It's like a pie in the sky idea, but hopefully it's considered on some level, or you have to at least study it. Anyway, that's all I have. May God bless LAPD.
The next speaker, Raul Montes. Macias, I'm sorry. It looks like Montes.
Good morning, Police Chief Jim McConnell. I'm sorry, McDonald Raul. Shame on you. Shame on you. Good morning, Police Commissioners. The late Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy once said, "Every community gets the kind of law enforcement it insists on." I'm asking the chief to arrest the watch commander who was working at 3:06 a.m. this morning and refused a welfare check at 5134 Raphael Street. It has been denied time and time again because we have a vigilante who's moved in, a vigilante and avenger who I empathize why he did this. He murdered Sean Evan Buer and is driving his car. And he moved in to that location. That is the house belonging to Young Saw Chai, who's suffered crimes against humanity that I've come in here and I have stressed over and over to do something, but Northeast Division is corrupt and they didn't look for Sean Evan Buer. They didn't look for Calvin, I believe his name is Ford, who tried to stab me at that residence. And also, he was taken out by South Pasadena police. I witnessed it because I'm homeless because of Sean Evan Buer. He wanted that house. And I came in here and testified. This Avenger is Asian, I believe. He is Korean. He said, fuck that, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. And he went out there to El Segundo and murdered him. He's driving his car, okay? And he has expired license tags, December 2022. I confronted him twice. The second time I said, you murdered Sean Evan Buer, didn't you, sir? He said nothing. Started walking up the steps. You murdered Sean Evan Buer, sir. You're driving his car. I seen that car 4 years in a row when I lived with Sean. And, you know, he just slammed the door. He comes and goes as he pleases because the police do not arrest their own. They do not want to pick up this gentleman who is, I just call him a gentleman, but he had a grievance and I empathize with him because the fucking Northeast Division are criminals who will not allow you to see a watch commander. He is not available. What the hell is he doing? Watching cartoons? I want him out here now. You're not going to see him, Raul. I want someone to apprehend this Avenger. He killed Sean. There's no doubt about it. He had a hand in killing Callan, who tried to stab me because I told him that dude that just opened the gate for you, young man, this Asian fellow, that dude on that skateboard that just went off, who's a Satanist, tried to stab me. He goes, okay, that guy's on my list. The reason he moved in there was to kill everyone that was involved in the rape and the humiliation and the crimes against humanity foisted on Young Saw Chai, who hasn't been seen in a month.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we
Thank
have
you,
Steve
sir.
Riley.
Good morning.
Good morning. What items would you like to speak on?
All items, please.
Okay,
I'd like
3
to
minutes.
start off by congratulating Chief Jim McDonald. As a resident of Los Angeles, I say welcome home. Los Angeles is blessed to have you sitting in that seat. And I'm going to play a little bit of a musical tribute for a moment. Indeed, happy days are here again. And I just want to mention something. 2 weeks ago, we had an election and the people spoke. And I tried to speak on that day. And for some reason, the Zoom function was not working properly. It wasn't acknowledged. Even today, I heard someone try to speak in the beginning of the meeting, and I don't know what the issue is, but if it's a technical issue, please get IT to fix it. Communication is key. And even right now, I can only see my name and I see the hand up. I don't see you, and I don't know if I'm being heard. I hope I am being heard. Chief McDonald on the LAPDonline.org website has a chief's message. When you hit the play button, it doesn't play. These things need to be corrected. They need to be fixed. But I want to stay positive today. And on the issue of immigration, remember, you have to distinguish between illegal immigration and legal immigration. I suggest everyone read Special Order 40. Take the time to actually read it. And remember Jamil Shaw Jr. Okay, there are many victims of crime. Many of them are committed by illegal immigrants. Once the arrest is made, that person, the arrestee, should be transported to LA County Jail, where there should be an ICE agent checking their status. I'm not talking about mass roundups, which I think is just an improper term. We're talking about focus on the criminals, and focus on making LA safer for everyone. LAPD does not ask victims and witnesses about their immigration status. That's been clear for years. Let's not fearmonger. We don't need reports every week on that. So let's everybody do their job from the federal, state, and local level, enforce the rule of law. And God bless the LAPD. And welcome back, Chief Jim McDonald. Thank you.
The last in-person speaker, Michelle.
So, Jim McDonald, I bet all these sycophants really cheered you on today because that's who they are. But we voted you out of office, and we, the people of this city, do not want you in office. And we're going to make that really clear, really crystal clear. And you know, the last time I was here, my friend spoke about this police department bankrupting the city, having to unemploy people because they don't have the money because of what the cops are doing and what you're spending. Now, Kalancha, this group listened to you. They paid attention to you. Only a tiny, tiny bit, Kalancha. And is he still getting the 500,000? I bet he is. And he's double dipping and getting his retirement, and he's going to get another retirement. You are bankrupting this city. And that is going to become crystal clear in the days ahead. And if this becomes a sanctuary city and you do not force this person who repeatedly turned in immigrants when he was the sheriff, you are going to be accountable. You are going to be accountable if you don't force him to respect the sanctuary of this city and respect any places that call themselves sanctuaries. This is serious business. People's lives are at stake. You kill too many people as it is. This is the most murderous police department in the country, and then you hire this guy with his reputation, and you sit here and you're all agog. You think this is just wonderful. Well, we don't. And we are the citizens. And if we get a chance, we are going to get him out. Believe me, because this is not something this city wants. This city does not want this man as head of this police department. And it wants you to be accountable to the city and to its people, not to be accountable to the police protective league that's paying you or subsidizing you or giving you all kinds of perks, or maybe they're threatening your families. Who knows what they're doing? But you people are in their throes. And this has to stop. You know, I don't care who's mayor and who makes the appointments. It doesn't matter. You're supposed to be an oversight board, and you need to practice that. And you need to rein in this guy, because he's going to unleash all the evils of this department, all of them. And that will be on you. Believe me, and we are going to hold you accountable. You're going to hear it.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 3, consent agenda items. We have items 3A through M. Would anyone like to discuss or hold or pull any items? Vice President Shields.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kalanche? Okay, very good. Commissioner Garcia?
None, thank you.
Very good. Then I would move that we adopt the recommendation for board action for items 3A through M. Is there a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We will now move on to agenda item number 4, regular agenda items. We have a verbal presentation relative to the Watch to Boston program with the Community Safety Partnership Bureau. And I believe I have Deputy Chief Brockway and staff. Morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
And Chief, when you have a moment, if you would please introduce everyone for the record.
Absolutely. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Mr. Sibley. Good morning, Ms. Yu. And of course, good morning to Carlos and to Becky and Maria. Good morning. I'm honored and privileged to be here today.